Hi, I'm Wendy from Hillstart Nutrition, Health and Wellness, and welcome to the Are You Really Going to Eat That podcast. I am a huge foodie and I'm also a qualified nutritionist. And I started this podcast because I really wanted to talk about food quite a lot actually, but also it was really important for me to help people cut through the headlines. There is constant contradictory noise around food and nutrition. And in this podcast, I give you my honest opinion, my hopefully educated opinion. I also interview some experts and also some great foodies as well. The purpose of this is to give you those facts and those tools so you can go away and apply them to your own diet and the food that you eat, and hopefully give you some inspiration along the way. It comes with a word of warning though, don't listen while you're hungry. Episode 60, and I bring you an interview with the gorgeous, and I really don't mind saying that she is gorgeous, inside and out, the gorgeous Kate Lyman. If you are listening on the podcast, I would recommend that you pop over to YouTube channel and have a look at the recording of this interview, because Kate just smiles the whole way through. It's just so lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to her. We are definitely kindred souls, and Kate has a slightly different approach to me. Her business is quite results driven, but actually it's not just about the results for her, it's about that long-term benefit. She shares some really good tips with us. I think the tips that we can all take away, and I just really love her attitude, real positive attitude, so thoroughly enjoyed talking to her. Before I start the episode though, I just want to remind you that on the 22nd of November, I'm starting my 7 days, 7 ways to a healthier you. So if you want to join that with me, go to hillstart.me.uk/7 days. That's the number 7 followed by DAYS, days. And we start on the 22nd of November. So every day I'm just going to be in there chatting to you, sharing with you one tip per day on a change that you can make. And this is very much based around the 6 fundamentals of Ditch the Diet membership, which if you are a regular listener, you will know all about anyway. And if you're not, pop to the show notes and have a look. hillstart.me.uk/60. All my links are in there. The link to the 7 days is in there. All of Kate's links are in there as well. So if there's anything you want to know about me, about Kate, or about the podcast or our YouTube channel, pop into there and you can find it all in there. I think that is enough for today, isn't it? So let's get on with the episode with the wonderful Kate. So Kate, welcome to the podcast. I'm delighted to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
No problem. So I have to ask you, before I let you introduce yourself, I have to ask you, because British people always ask this, what's the weather like?
The weather is a little, so I'm in Memphis, Tennessee,
Yeah.
and we don't really get the hurricanes here, but we get like the tail end or the bad weather. So it is a little gloomy and it looks like it's about to storm. And I think it's because we have a hurricane coming this way. So not great is the answer.
Great. Oh, actually, I think the weather might be better in the UK for a change.
It might be.
So brilliant. Sorry. So Kate, can you introduce yourself to the audience? Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yes, my name is Kate Lyman. I am a nutrition coach, and similar to what you do, although there are some differences, but I work one-on-one with individuals, helping them work towards whatever specific goals they're working towards. So whether that's aesthetic goals or performance goals, I work with both ends of the spectrum. I've been doing this for a long time, it feels at least. So I've had my nutrition coaching business for 5 years now. I've done it full time for the last 3 years, and over the past 2-ish years have expanded my team. So I have a few other nutrition coaches working with me, and really what we do is provide very personalized one-on-one nutrition coaching for all types of goals and all types of individuals. And it's really, really fun and awesome, and I love it.
I love that passion as well. And, I'm fairly new to the nutrition world as well. And so I think that's what really shines out, and that's what really attracted me to you when I was looking at your sort of social media posts and stuff. You can see that you just love it, don't you?
I do love it. I love it big time.
Brilliant. So tell us, I was really interested to hear your journey because your journey is slightly different to mine. So I'd really think it would be great to share with the listeners kind of how, because you went back, you were at school studying, weren't you? And then kind of, I've done the opposite. I kind of went back to study to do this, whereas actually you kind of did it the opposite way, didn't you? You were like, hey, this is not working for me, and actually, let's get out. So can you just touch on that a little bit for us?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've worked in fitness for a long time. At age 17, I was still in high school. I became a CrossFit trainer. So I was working in a CrossFit gym. I did this through college. And it always felt like this side thing that like paid bills and tuition, like as I went towards something bigger, So I always thought I wanted to go to school to be a physician assistant, like a type of medical school. And so I got my undergrad in exercise science, took a lot of nutrition classes with the intention of always applying for this PA school. And I was working with in the gym on the side and like even offering nutrition seminars and stuff because I did have this interest in nutrition. And like midway through these PA school applications, I kind of like had this dawning like I don't know if I want to do this. Like I kind of want to work in prevention instead of like prescribing people pills or, Um, right. So I kind of shifted gears and applied to a graduate program for a master's in public health. And I went through grad school, loved it, did a lot of work in nutrition education and research, and had a blast and learned so much. And as I was in grad school, started Kate Lyman Nutrition, like started taking paid clients. It was paying my tuition, it was paying the bills, and I was loving it, but I was still like, this isn't my job. Like I'm going to be a professor now, I'm going to go do something
Get a
that's
real
not,
job.
I don't, a real job. Yeah. I don't know why it's always felt like that to me, but it's always felt like fitness or health couldn't be a real job. And maybe because it's like so fun and so great. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. So I finished grad school and immediately applied for a PhD. I wanted to do more research. Moved to Memphis, started a PhD program in social and behavioral science with a focus on nutrition education, and got to this point where I was one, a little burnt out with school, hadn't taken a break since like kindergarten,
Yeah.
and yeah, right, and two, was kind of having to choose between this coaching business of mine and continuing on with this PhD, and I wasn't even loving the school very much. Um, so I left the program and took my nutrition coaching full time. And I was like, okay, I'll give myself a few months to see if this can work. And it did in the best way possible. And I was able to hire another coach and then another coach. And now we all work together doing the same thing. And I think it took like even a year of working full time for me to be like, this is a real job. This is great. Like I love it so much that it's always felt like I had to invalidate it as like real work. But all of this schooling I went through honestly has been so integral in helping me be the best coach possible. I think, especially since it's kind of like multidisciplinary. Like I've worked in behavioral health and in exercise science and in nutrition, but I think that combination of all of these studies has really helped me, um, not just with the nutrition portion, but just like with connecting with my clients better.
I totally get that, and I'm the opposite. Is kind of I left school at 18 and then got a job. I still think that I didn't have a real job because it was family business, but totally unrelated to nutrition and wellness. And
Hmm.
then at 45, kind of reconnected with my education. But I kind of get where you went with it because I did nutrition training, and so in the UK you don't have to do a huge amount to kind of call yourself a nutritionist. And so I did the
Hmm.
training, kind of thought this is going to be it, and then was like, I haven't learned enough. For me it was like the lack of knowledge, and so I'm now
Hmm.
studying with the College of Naturopathic Medicine, and we've done
Oh,
I did
cool.
biomed foundation and naturopathy now. And yeah, exactly, it's so cool and I'm learning so much. And so I love the fact that you came from the science as well. So it's not just about what I love about you is it's not just about the food, is it? It's we are a
Right.
whole. So food is integral, and obviously sort of fitness for you is kind of an angle, a great angle for you. I'm not in the fitness realm
Hmm.
at all, but actually, like you said, it's much much more than just that, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, um, that is what sets apart like short-term change from long-term sustainable change, is being able to look at, kind of play the long game and understand how behaviors play a role in changing habits, and being able to understand the whole person and all of these different factors that contribute to our overall health, um, that that do align with nutrition, but it's more than just that food. Um, and like, interesting note, I'm actually not a nutritionist, and I can't even like legally call myself that because
Yeah.
I don't have that certification. I have um, all these other things going on, but I can't call myself a nutritionist, which is fine. But it's interesting because, um, the certifications have such different specialties, and you can learn one part of, like metabolic health and nutrition, and how food digest in our body, but not know the other behavioral part. And so I think there's different areas you have to learn in order to really understand how to work with clients in the best way possible. Sounds like you're on top of it, and I'm like jealous you're in school, because I do love school.
I
And I would
didn't
love to go
realize.
back.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much I loved it, and it's really bad. My poor husband, he's when I sort of left the family business, he said take some time out. So I signed up for a nutrition course because that was my way of taking time out.
It sounds right.
Yeah, and then I signed up for the naturopathy, and I'm like, I've got till June till I qualify, and I'm already thinking about the next course that I'm going to take. I realise that I am
Yeah.
a bit of an addict, and I do want to keep learning, but that's the way you build that. And actually, I think I read on one of your podcasts you said about getting specialists. So I loved it when you said you have your own nutrition coach, you have business coach, and you're kind of saying it's like you don't have to be expert in all things. You
Right.
can get it is about getting those right people in those right places.
Right. Yeah. I'm a big proponent of having like that external accountability. Um, And someone who can look at what we're doing personally and, like, take a step back and understand what's going on more than our narrowed in view of, like, how we feel one day, and I tell this to new clients, like, I have a nutrition coach. I know what I'm doing. Like, I can technically, make my own set my own macros or make my own plan or whatever. But I don't want to, because I'm gonna like think I'm gonna have such a narrow view on what I need or what I think I need. And to have someone, this like authority on the outside, looking at my whole life and how I'm feeling and just giving me this accountability and this guidance is so valuable to me. Um, and then there's areas like business where I'm like, I know science. I don't know business. Like, help me, like, you have to be able to um reach out for help for people who do know more, or reach out for help for people who can take it who can have a different perspective of what you're going through, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's looking at it objectively, and I know you're very much sort of goal driven and results driven, which I love, and I think it's about people realizing. I deal with a lot of people who kind of they come to me and they say I've done X, I've done Y, I've tried this diet, I've Googled this, and Google says this is good for me and this is bad for me, and actually, what you need is someone to just, like you said, an expert. If you're not a business expert, you get someone in to do that. If you're
Mhm.
not a health and fitness expert, get someone in who can like give you that right program that suits as an individual, not Mr. Google who's trying to reach 10 million people all at the same time. And that's what you
Right.
do really well, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, and I feel like I have this conversation often. So if I have like a potential new client and we're on a Zoom call or something and we're talking about, they're like, well, what does this look like for me? Like, um, what do my macros look like? I'm like, I don't know right now. I can't tell you, because I'm going to take into account not just your weight and your height, but like your dieting history and your lifestyle and what you like to eat and how you like to eat and your activity levels and like what time you're training and all of these different things. I can't tell you right now. Like, I am not a macro calculator, because I don't think that's the best way to go. Like, I need more context. Or someone says like what does tracking have to look like for me? Like, if someone is tracking their macros, what does tracking have to look like for me? I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell you yet, because we need to see what feels hard, what feels easy, what feels like a roadblock to progress, what feels exhausting to you. And we avoid those things that aren't sustainable. So it's so hard to give these like blanket recommendations, because our nutrition is individualized in so many ways, not in just our personal needs, but in like the approach that we need to take to be sustainable.
Totally. I love that. And I love the fact you said, I don't even know what you like yet. It's a journey, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
journey. And I think, if you want to get those goals, nothing comes easy, does it? You're very
Right.
honest about the fact that, that you've got to have some skin in the game and you've got to be prepared to, commit. If you want a specific result, you've got to be prepared to commit to that, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have to be able to look at not just like, I want to lose 15 pounds now, but like I want to keep that to maintain that progress. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to lose 15 pounds and then gain 10 back. Like this is a long game here and we can get you to your short-term goals. But what's more important is maintaining those goals past this short-term time frame. Because like if you just want the quick loss, like go and do a cleanse or like
Yeah,
just
totally.
kidding.
Yeah.
I
Run a
would never
marathon
say
and
do
stop
that.
eating.
Yeah, I would never say do
No.
that. But like that's not what I do. That's not what the coaching we provide. So like if that's the goal, then we're not a good fit. And I feel like I try to be pretty honest with people with that, because if someone is not ready to commit to, longer term change, there's no use in trying to struggle through it. It makes me look bad as or feel bad as a coach, and it makes them look like they're unsuccessful. And so it's not really benefiting either party.
Yeah, totally. And it's not healthy, is it? And that I think that for me is the real connection is, yes, okay, it's results driven, but actually if you just get the result and that's not the end of your journey. Actually, that's probably the
Correct.
start of your journey in earnest, isn't it? That's where
Yeah.
the skill comes in, and that's where the commitment comes in. And it doesn't have to be commitment, like you said. Neither of us are fans of juicing and cleansing, should we say? Just go out and don't eat food. Well, yeah, you are gonna lose weight if you don't eat food. That kind of,
Right.
it's logic, isn't it? But actually, it's that long term. Maintaining health is a long term journey, isn't it? You personally might have a goal to be X size or to look a certain way, but if that's not healthy, you're not on board with that, are you?
Right, right, absolutely not. And I mean, the same goes for these. A big portion of clients we have are like more performance driven, and we're still thinking like, yes, you have a meet coming up or a competition, but we're still like, we're going to prepare for the short term, but we're still thinking about your overall health, performance, recovery long term, because um, you're not just preparing for this one meet or competition. Like you probably want to do another down the road, or at least feel good. So like, yes, we're focusing on the short-term goal, but these long-term changes are always in mind.
Yeah, totally. And I do love that about you. I love that about that. So tell me about, I love, you made a comment and you said, I've just committed to doing what feels like fun when you were talking about exercise. And I thought that was a
Mhm.
really cool way of looking at it, because we become so focused on like, I must run every day, I must do yoga every day. And actually, if going skateboarding, I don't skateboard, it'd be walking a dog. I'm far too off skateboarding. I don't know why I chose that. I was obviously very inspired by you. But if it's something like that, to just go and do it, and it's just about moving, isn't it? And having fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I feel like the way I train is, like, something I would never recommend to anyone trying to get better at anything. Because it's just so, like, I do CrossFit maybe 3 times a week, and then I also, go to, like, a speed work track workout 1 day a week, which is, like, pretty counterintuitive to getting stronger in CrossFit, and then
Yeah.
I go to spin class, and then I swim because at one point I was signed up for a half Ironman before the pandemic canceled it.
Ah,
And so like I have all of these different things going on. And for me, it's like checking the box on moving and seeing people, because I work from home in my house and don't talk to people all day, I'm on
yeah.
a computer. Same story as everyone. So like my priorities right now are movement that feels good and social time. And for me, that means a bunch of different gyms and a bunch of different training disciplines, and more importantly, knowing that I'm probably not going to get better at any one of them. Or I might get better, but I'm not going to be the best at any one of them, because I am absolutely not putting like the attention and time and dedication into any one sport or activity. Um, and I think the post you're referencing was about like, that's okay, but don't get frustrated when you're not getting stronger, because you're only like half-ass committing to strength training, it's okay to not have like this goal of getting better in one area, you just can't expect that from yourself when you're not putting forth the effort. And I think the exact same goes for our nutrition. Like, I would also say, like, right now, I'm not eating for any specific goal. I'm like, sometimes I track my food if I feel like I need to rein it in a little bit or just see what I'm eating. Um, but there's definitely no attempt at like fat loss or any aesthetic changes. And that's okay, because I want to be able to go out and eat with my friends and, like, do all these things without sacrificing um, any specific area right now. So I can't be mad that I'm not my leanest, or I can't be mad that I'm not my strongest because I'm not like eating or training to be. So I think um, the point is like making sure that what we're doing, our actions meet our expectations, because there can be a huge disconnect. And I feel like few things as a coach make me like not frustrated with the client, but a little frustrated like with myself if I see this big disconnect between the two, because I'm like, you're not being fair to yourself, you're getting frustrated with lack of progress when you're not putting forth the effort to actually see those changes.
Totally. I think being realistic about your goals is it's such a big thing. A lot of my clients are kind of, slightly older, and they come to me and they say, and weight loss, as much as I say I'm not a weight loss coach, it's often, one of the two goals.
Yeah,
What are your two
yeah,
goals? And weight loss is nearly always one of them. But I do
yeah.
say to people, are you being realistic? They'll say, I want to be X weight. And I'm like, well, when was the actual last time that you were that way? And if they say to me it was when they were 19 or 20 and these ladies are in their 40s, I'm like, well, is that realistic for you to be that way? I'm not the same weight as I was in my, when I was 19,
Right. Had you
20.
had kids yet?
Exactly.
Like,
It's like these poor ladies have had 2 kids, this body has done a lot of work. So I'm lucky I
yeah,
haven't had kids, so I don't have that to contend with. But it
yeah,
is, and exactly, you need to pay your body the respect that it deserves, and respect that journey that it's been on, and then say what's realistic, what's achievable, and what's long term. And then what am I prepared, what am I prepared to put into it? And if it's
yeah.
eating really well and exercising really well, and then you want to be, super fit, that takes a huge amount of commitment, doesn't it? And actually, is
Right.
it better to just be, enjoying sport, enjoying food, and be fit and healthy? That's got to be a better combination than unfit and fat, isn't it?
Right. Yeah,
Brutal.
it's not all, yeah, right. No, I think that's really accurate. And it's not wrong to try to get to that point of being like your fittest or leanest. You just have to be ready for it. Just what you said. Like, you can't like kind of train, kind of pay attention to your nutrition and expect to be like stage lean, or whatever that may look like for you, or like fitness model lean.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about how do you feel there's a lot of pressure? Because I've noticed this, because I'm very new to this industry and being older. I have noticed kind of judgment. So the podcast is called "Are You Really Going to Eat That?" And that's because that's
Mhm.
what people say to me all the time. Is like they look at my food and they're like, "Hey, you eating that?" And I like pizza and beer as well, so that gets even worse.
Yeah.
But do you find that you feel judged on what exercise you might be doing, what your performance is like, what food you're eating, because of the profession that you're in?
For sure. I absolutely do. I feel, and it's kind of like an irrational pressure I put on ourselves, or we put on ourselves. I'm like, "Oh gosh, like if I don't look really lean, like how do people know that I can make them lean?"
Yeah.
Um, and that one has just taken time to get over, because it's those expectations. It's recognizing like, I do not want to do that right now, or like maybe ever again, as in like diet, cut, whatever. Um, that's not where my priorities are. My priorities are in my work. And so, you know, that's okay. And hopefully I make up for it in like producing the best coaching possible, or like giving the most attention to my clients possible, or producing good content. Um, but as far as the food choices go, I just like literally don't say anything. I feel like I've gone out so many times with friends, like from the gyms or from different like fitness communities, and they know what I do, but clearly like not enough to recognize that like I preach flexibility and like being able to go out to eat and eating what you want, and having your pizza or whatever it is. And I just have to remind myself like they don't know my message, and that's okay. And I can think of just Sunday being with a bunch of friends and someone being like, "Oh, don't eat that, Kate's around." And I was like, I don't care. Like, please leave me alone. I just kind of like freeze up and I'm like, I'm not going to go into a spiel on like correcting them on what I actually believe until I'm directly asked. So I just kind of let it fly. And, um, maybe they see me eating my pizza or wings or whatever it is, and they understand like that's okay.
And I think that's why people connect with you. And, at the end of the day, your clients are with you because that is your message. And there are, it's a saturated industry. There are loads of coaches out there over in the UK and in the States who are super hardcore and believe in a specific kind of diet. And, and it's basically they roll it out for every client. And actually, what I love about you is that you don't do that. That, like you said, everybody is different. You're different to your client, and your input and output is where you are now, and that I think that's why they connect with you, and I think your team, you all share that ethos as well, which is really great, isn't it?
Right, and I hope so, and I hope that I do an okay job of sharing, like, that flexibility in my own life um, and showing, like, look, some of my meals are, like, pretty boring, like, we're talking, you know, vegetables and chicken in, like, the most boring way, and that's okay because I'm going out to eat tonight, so I'm trying to find balance, and this is how I'm doing it. So I do try to share that, but then we have to understand that it looks totally different for everybody, and that's okay too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love this about you. So one of the things you shared recently is your favorite part of your body is your teeth, I
My
believe.
teeth. It is, yeah.
She has lovely teeth. So if you watch this, so this is a podcast, but we are recording it. So nip over to YouTube and have a look at the lovely smile.
Yeah, hopefully they look nice and white.
They do look lovely. So that was hilarious from a coach. Yeah, my teeth are my best asset. Yeah.
I think here's the thing. I got braces like very late in life. So I
Oh
had them through
wow.
my junior and senior year of high school, which was horrible because
Yeah.
I was like the last person in senior year to have braces. And so I think I like just really feel like I suffered for them. I'm like, gosh, I really suffered for these. I have to like be proud of them and love them and keep them nice and clean. And I wear my retainers every night. Like now 10 years later because I'm like, look,
This
we
is hard
suffered for
work.
this.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
this was terrible. At a time in my life, having braces in senior year of high school felt like the worst thing in the whole world. So
I bet it did. Oh, bless you, bless you. And actually, that's a great analogy for like health and well-being. Is if you worked hard to get it, then just do the little bit of work to keep it. Wear your retainers and
exactly.
clean them.
Oh,
I
I
love
love
that.
that. I love that.
Can you both use
I
that?
love that.
Tell us a little bit about. You said that you were going to be doing an Ironman, and obviously the lovely pandemic has put paid to
Mhm.
that. How has business been for you? How have things been in the last sort of 6 months?
I feel like it's so I got really nervous as any business owner would, right? With
Yeah.
some huge shifts and changes. And my husband, who he manages a gym full time and his gym, closed.
Gosh.
And I was like, gosh, this is like getting a little nervous here. And so I definitely shifted my messaging to saying like, hey, we are stressed. Everyone everywhere is stressed. Like this is a really hard time. What can we not control? A global pandemic, economic collapse, all of
Yeah.
these different things, what your job looks like, what school for your kids looks like. There's so much we can't control. What can we control? We can probably, care for ourselves and make sure we're feeling our best. And it wasn't like an attempt to like get more clients, but it was just like shifting my messaging to say, hey, like our hard work or our attention towards our own health does not have to suffer right now greatly because of what's happening in the world. Um, and that doesn't mean it also doesn't mean this is the time to like maybe get your leanest or, like
Yeah.
pursue strength goals. Like what can we do to maintain health and work towards optimal health at this time where like things feel really stressful. And business wise, I feel like things were able to stay very steady for me through these like the first months of um, big shutdown. And then as people, as gyms reopened or as people decided like, hey, this is going to be for a while. Hey, maybe I saw some composition changes that I didn't like as much over these few months of being at home and moving less and not having a gym, whatever. Um, I did take on some more clients who are ready to, um, ready to make changes and not just like lose the quarantine 15, but ready to really be like, hey, I have more time to devote to myself. Um, let's do it. Like, why not? Like, time has been my excuse for so long, and now I'm not commuting. I'm working from home and working through lunch, so I have a shorter work day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I'm cooking at home. I'm not eating out. What can I do to take the opportunity to kind of, dial in my own health goals and habits right now? Because it seems like a good time to do that.
Yeah, never been a better time. And I love that. It's kind of like we have, haven't we? It's a thing I hear most from clients is I don't have enough time. And
Right.
actually that was taken totally off the table, wasn't it? So, it's not an
Yeah.
excuse anymore. And I don't know about the States, but in the UK, we were all encouraged to go out for an hour of exercise every day. And actually it's coincided that at the start of lockdown, the weather here was really unseasonably warm. And I live quite
That's
close to
nice.
kind of like a really nice wooded area. And we found that it was literally like 10 times busier in our woods during lockdown than it was normal, which is like totally, against all kind of intuition. But I did find that I saw more people running and more people being out and families going out for a walk together, which I thought was lovely. But I do think you're right. It's kind of like that, take that off the table and start caring for yourself. And if even if you've only got half an hour, is taking that time and saying, I'm going to do some yoga, I'm going to do some stretches, I'm going to start running, and invest in yourself, because that's the best way to, the fitter and healthier you are, the better you're going to be able to deal with this, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if we had that hour of outside recommendation.
Did you know? Oh, we
I would
did.
say probably not. This is America, but I can without a doubt say that like our neighborhoods were busier with families walking and strollers and kids on bikes and all the things. And once gyms opened again, there was kind of an influx of people saying like, hey, my health is important right now. Like, I'd like to work out. I'd like to take charge of this one little area in my life because there's a lot else that feels a little out of control.
Yeah, and I think if that's something we control, and I think that's the positive from it, and we all know. I mean, that evening walk, me and my husband did it together, and it was just such a lovely way to connect at the end of the day. And you
Right.
forget we're all kind of so busy, even us that are in health, and we know how important it is. We just get so busy, don't we? I mean, the
Yeah.
amount, do you spend a lot of time? I spend far too much time sitting at my computer. It's
Yes.
like
All day. All day.
yeah, nightmare. So tell us, so do you do, is it all in person, or do you do online stuff as well? Can people work with you online?
I actually do only online, and
Oh, I'm
this was
sorry.
even yeah, and this no, it's good. This is even pre-pandemic only online, because I have a lot of clients all over the place, and I would say a majority are not in Tennessee where I live or even the area where I live. So I like sometimes I'll be out and about and see people who are my clients, or who are clients of my coaches, but for the most part, our clients are like all over the place, all over the country, and quite a few international as well.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to put all of your links in the show notes so people can find
Perfect.
you. And I really encourage you to follow you on social media. I love your Instagram account. So just tell everyone what your Instagram handle is so that they can, we'll put it anyway, but let them know.
Yeah, I like to hang out on Instagram. I feel like I've been slacking a little bit lately, but I'm still on there every day. So you can find me on Instagram at KL Nutrition. And then my website is katelymannutrition.com. So pretty
Fantastic.
easy. I'm mostly on Instagram trying to put out, as much free content, educational content as I can, and as well as like tips and tricks, and do a lot of like diet myth busting over there. And on my website, I have a blog that we post every other week. So there's a lot of kind of recipes and a little more long form educational content over there. And then if you head to the resources tab, I have quite a few free downloads. There's some like workout guides that were at home, um, you know, given what we just talked about and the influx of at home workouts during the pandemic. And then my favorite one over there is a full length cookbook. It's called Everyday Macros, and it is a meal prep based cookbook. So essentially, it takes you through how to batch prepare meals for the entire week, and then make a bunch of meals out of or prepare foods for the entire week. Like, you got your proteins and your carbs, and then make a bunch of meals out of that. So you are technically meal prepping, but not like meal in a Tupperware eating the same thing every every day type of thing, because I am not into that at all.
No, totally. And I think it's a really great, I've been in and had a look at it, and it's really great. And just kind of food is my passion. That's how I got into this. And it's really timely. Although this episode will go out in November, in my membership this month, we're talking about, I've called it awesome leftovers, mainly because my husband doesn't like the word awesome. So I just want to use it as much as possible.
I love it.
But it's the same thing. It's kind of like, we think about leftovers as you make one thing and then you just eat the same thing meal after meal after meal. And actually, you can be much more innovative with it, and and keep, if food, I think if food is boring, it drives you to maybe make poor choices because you've eaten something that you're not
Absolutely.
enjoyed. And that's what I loved about the cookbook. I thought it was really, some great recipe in there. And like you said, you play with that and you say, here's this thing, but let's make it interesting. Let's make it awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. That's the exact goal. So I love that. Perfect timing.
Yeah. So we'll put all of the links into those. It's a really great resource. I did love it, and I'm always looking. My desk is always filled with loads of cookbooks, and so I take lots of inspiration. So that was great. And your Instagram is brilliant. You're very positive but very real, and that's what I like about you, is like no hold barred, but actually be realistic and have a bit of fun with it. And you clearly do love it. I really resonated with what you were saying about is this really a job? Because I have fun every day. I mean, I get to talk to people about food all day, every day.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, it's the best job in the world. I get to cook, and I have an excuse for cooking all the time.
I love it.
You always get fed when you come to my house.
That's perfect.
So tell us, you've had some quite exciting news. So tell us about kind of what's holds for Kate in the future, or what's happening in your life.
This is really exciting. I am moving to Mexico soon. And this has been like a long time dream of mine. It took some years to get my husband on board. He was like, Mexico? Okay. Like when we got married, he's like, sure. And it kind of felt like a far off thing that wasn't actually going to happen, but like, yeah, that'd be cool to do. And the past 2-ish years have been really working towards, getting to a place where we can actually make that happen. So the fact that I work online is really integral in that process. So just like during these last few months, we're like, let's do it. I've been working to get to a point where we can make it work. And so we live in Memphis, Tennessee right now, and we leave next month, and we're actually visiting family, but then we're moving to Oaxaca, Mexico in January. And I'm so excited because work for me will look exactly the same, but just in a different place. And it's somewhere I've wanted to go for a long time. So I'm very excited.
And I love this. So Oaxaca is kind of like a massive foodie capital. So I'm
exactly
jealous. But
it is.
Also, Kate, tell us how many times you've been to this place that you are deciding now to live in.
Oh, I've never been there. I've been to Mexico a lot, but I've never been there. And the process of deciding where we're going to go was like, I really like spreadsheets and data and numbers. And it was like asking a bunch of like people. We made a list of our non-negotiables, like outdoor space we really are into trail running and hiking and climbing and mountain biking. So that's priority, but also a place that had an airport, so we could get back home when we wanted, sensible. And people could come visit. Yeah. And so there were some different requirements we had, and then we had like 20 cities picked out and like narrowed them down and ranked them all and had this number system, and Oaxaca won by far. And that was like the overwhelming feedback we got when asking different groups. So never been there, but really excited to go. And according to the spreadsheet, it's the perfect place, but we'll see when we get there.
Let's hope this.
That could be different.
I'm sure it will. I just love that when you kind of said, and I've never been there before, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm very jealous. It's kind of a dream of mine. My previous life, I ran like a merchant, so it was kind of very driven, open hours, and had to be in all the time. And part of creating this sort of new business for me is the fact that I want to take it, wherever I go. I want to travel and take it with you. And I feel so fortunate to do a job that you love, and then to be able to do that as well. So well done, you.
Thank you. you. I'm excited.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm excited for you. So, Kate, it's been wonderful to speak to you. Thank you so much. I do my quick fire round in a minute, but I just want, for the listeners, if you could share sort of like maybe your top tips. So I know everything's very specialised and we agree that, everybody is different, but if you could sort of like, there could be mental tips or workout tips or food tips, what would be your top 3 things that you would say that everyone can do to get the most amount of benefit from kind of like the least amount of effort? What are the 3 things that everyone needs to do?
Okay. First thing would be focusing on habits rather than rules. So like what can I do? What little things can I do every day to, build more positive habits? Like is that drinking water? Like a set amount of water every day? Is it putting a vegetable with each meal? Like small things that sound like that's lame and boring, but really build into really positive long-term habits that you can hold. That you can hold steady, not just like when you're at home eating whatever, but like when you're out of town, when you're out of routine, when you're going out to dinner or eating with family or whatever. Okay, so habits over rules
Love
because
that.
restriction is never I can't say never, but it's usually not the answer to long-term change.
Yeah.
Um, okay, second would be that there is truth and energy balance, that calories in versus calories out matters. That's the law of thermodynamics. That's what drives change in our body composition. And it's obviously way more complex than that, but understanding that calories matter helps us really understand diets better, right? There's this huge dieting industry and it's pushing keto, paleo, vegetarian, vegan, whatever. And if someone sees success from that, a specific diet, it is because they were eating fewer calories and they were burning. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the diet. Maybe that's what's sustainable for them. But what has to be, the focus is like maintaining a calorie deficit if you're trying to lose fat and doing that in the way that is sustainable for you. So if you love carbs, going low carb might not be that way for you. We have to understand that there's no magic in a diet. So that was my second one. Third one, this is something I repeat to my clients over and over and over, is that we are always focusing on consistency over perfection. And if you are focusing on perfection in your diet, in your training, in literally any aspect of your life, you're going to fail because we're never going to be perfect. But that's okay because being perfect is not the goal. Being consistent is. So the ability to be flexible and consistent is really what drives long-term changes. And if you get nothing else from this podcast episode, it's that long-term changes are the way to go, and focusing on short-term usually isn't the most sustainable approach.
Fantastic. They're brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love them and agree with every single one of them. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I wish,
Thank you
you are
so
thousands of
much.
miles away, so you couldn't do this anyway, but it would have been great to like catch up over a coffee. So you
I
never know.
know.
I need to go to Oaxaca. So when I
There you
do,
go.
we'll
Visit me
hook
in
up.
Mexico.
Definitely. It's a great excuse. So just to finish, Kate, I'm just going to do my quick fire round. So it has to be food, of course. So what food reminds you of childhood?
Vegetarian corn dogs. I was a vegetarian,
I love
and
that,
that's
corn
what it
dogs.
is. Yeah.
Which to British people is like a hot dog, basically, isn't it? Kind of. Well, is it
Yeah.
like is it like a corn
Oh
dog? Is
my
that the
gosh.
fried? We
Is
don't
that
even know.
not a
We don't
thing?
have them. No. So is it
This
like
is so funny.
a batter on
Okay.
it?
Yes,
Yes.
this is so American. It's a hot dog
Yep.
on a stick, dipped in batter and fried.
There you go.
And
We
it's
don't have
like
those
just as gross as it sounds, but to make it worse, like I ate vegetarian ones, so it was like a tofu corn dog. Um, but that's reminds me of childhood.
Brilliant. I love it. Yeah, we don't have those in the UK. We have many of other things.
That's so funny.
And what is your most memorable meal?
Like ever?
Yeah, like ever.
Oh. Um, okay. Well, actually, I spent a summer in Bolivia doing research and we ate a lot of llama.
Wow.
And that is really memorable to me because I was sad to eat llama, but also it was like really delicious.
I
Yeah.
love that. Are you still vegetarian?
I'm not. I'm
No.
not. I was for a long time, but no.
Did it taste like kind of like lamby kind of taste?
Yeah, it was like leaner lamb, but like the way they made it is they basically dry it like jerky and then rehydrate it. So it's almost like this does not sound good, but like it's like stringy jerky, but like not dry and tough.
Okay.
I don't know. It's see, memorable for
Memorable.
sure because it's
Yeah.
completely different than anything else I
Totally
ever eat
different. I
ever.
love that. And also associated with a specific time where
Yeah,
you were as
yeah,
well. So if you ever
yeah,
taste that again, that's going to transport you back, isn't it? Always.
absolutely. And I bet I have to be there again to taste it because
Yeah.
we not many people are eating like rehydrated llama.
No, I don't think it's anything on the menu. So we've had corn dogs and llama. Blimey, okay.
I know these are not normal answers.
So hopefully this one will be. And my final question for you is: no, you might not even know what I'm asking you, so I'll ask you it how I ask it on the podcast, and I might have to explain. So this is going to be hilarious. So what have you got for tea? So
I heard you say that on the podcast and I was like, okay, tea is British
yeah.
snack time,
Well,
right?
no, tea is British. I know this. I love this. So tea is British for dinner. So your evening meal of the day. It's a
Oh,
very
what?
northern thing. Yeah. So my husband's northern,
Okay.
and so this is kind of like a nod to his northerness because when we were first together, I call it dinner and he calls it tea. And we always used to argue about what meal it was. So I'd say, what we have for dinner? And it's like, it's tea. And so that's why I ask it on the podcast. So I realise it doesn't translate.
Wow, my
Yeah.
mind is being blown. I
So
thought
it's
tea was like snack.
snack. Yeah, yeah, not the hot drink or the snack. Yeah, no, it's actually your
Okay.
evening in Northern speak, Northern English. It is your evening meal of the day. So yeah, what have you got for tea, or what have you got for your evening meal, whatever you may call that,
Like my normal meal or just
or what you're eating
let's see
tonight?
what
What
we
you're
have
actually,
tonight.
yeah. So be
Okay,
honest.
tonight. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, here I'm going to be honest. Tonight we're having pho, which is Vietnamese
Oh
soup,
yeah,
with rice noodles.
love it.
And that's what we're having tonight. We're having pho.
Gorgeous. Are you
Pho,
cooking? Are you
pho
cooking
for tea.
for
No,
tea?
no, we're ordering. We're doing takeout tonight
Oh, we can't get
because
stuff like that.
flexibility.
Yeah, that's cool. I
Yeah.
can't actually. I read an article, diversifying, but I read an article today about healthy foods you could get on Deliveroo, which is our kind of like home delivery service.
Hmm.
So I put my postcode in thinking, oh, this will be really cool. And I can do a post about what healthy food I've ordered for my tea, dinner, evening meal
Yeah.
tonight. And actually, no, I can just get pizza or curry where I live. So I
Oh,
might not be having takeout tonight. But yeah, pho would be
oh,
amazing. I need to move to a
yeah.
bigger city.
Yeah, we like interestingly enough live in like in the middle of really close to a Vietnamese neighborhood. So we have like four Vietnamese restaurants just in a
Cool.
mile distance. So it's fantastic. A lot of
Yeah.
pho.
I'm very jealous. I'm very jealous. Kate, thank you so much. It's been an
Thank
absolute pleasure
you.
having you on. And yeah, hopefully we'll catch up in Oaxaca at some point.
I hope so.
Thank you. She was great, wasn't she? And I loved her tips. And now you know why she smiles all the time as well. So those tips were great, things that we can take away. And like I said, at the beginning, she's very much results driven. But actually, it's the long term goal and perfection. Some of us want perfection, most of us don't. And so it's about being realistic about what we can achieve. And I love the food thing. So a corn dog, something in the back of my head about a corn dog. So it's brilliant, isn't it? You think we are so, Americans and English are so aligned in so many ways, and then there are so many kind of fabulous tiny differences. So loved the fact that the food was proper giggle at the end. So if you liked that episode and Kate resonated with you, please make sure you share it with your friends and family. If you have the time and you can leave us a review, that would be amazing. It would really help me, and it will help Kate and her future business plans as well. And that's it for this week. All I need to say to you is what have you got for tea or dinner?